Today, we play in our very first World Series of Poker tournament. The atmosphere in this poker room is unlike any other, and everyone's excited to try to get their hands on a WSOP bracelet. We're gonna try in this PLO event, so let's get the cards in the air. We're playing 4-card pot limit Omaha. Let's gamble it up. So upon entering my very first live WSOP tournament, it's a PLO one, and we have 30,000 chips to start, but somehow, some way, I registered wrong. My chip stack got blinded down, but luckily I showed up early enough where we didn't get blinded down too much. We have 28,000 now in our stack, and here we are. In level 3, the blinds are 200, 300, 300 with 28K in stack. We look down at Queen, Jack, Deuce 5, no suits in the small blind. There are 2 players who limp the 300, and I call for 100 more. Big blind checks his option, and we're off to a flop. Flop comes 3, 4, 6, 2 clubs. Flop the straight, it's a second nuts, but no draw. I check, and the big blind bets 1,000. Now the hijack raises to 3K, and action folds to me. This is the first decision of the day, and I think that in PLO, you just have to be a little bit tighter without a draw. So although I did flop the second nuts, that's usually never too good in PLO. And along with no flush draw to improve with, we certainly can be beat a lot of the time or just be getting free rolled. So I just fold this one. The big blind ends up shoving his stack, and the hijack snap calls. Big blind has the ace high flush draw, and the hijack has 5 deuce of clubs for a straight and flush draw. The runouts come, they end up becoming bricks, and the hijack with 5 deuce wins. So I guess results-wise, we could have chopped it, but like I said, we were easily getting free rolled by this hijack player, and I like my fold early on in this tournament. In the next hand in the same level, we pick up ace, ace, queen, 8. Rainbow, no suits in the big blind, and there is one player who limps. A middle position player raises to 1,400, and action folds to me. We're out of position, and with no suits, calling here seems like it would put my hand face up, and that's not really too fun to play when you're handcuffed in a PLO game. But we haven't really played a hand too much, and let's just get involved. I put in a 3-bet to 5,000. Action folds back to this middle position player, and he thinks 5K is not big enough. He decides to pot it to 15,000. Facing this raise, it's really unfortunate that we pick up aces, and a ragged aces at that with no suits. I certainly can fold, but you know, that's not fun. Didn't come play a PLO tournament to fold, so I jam, and he makes the call pretty quickly. So second hand in, we are already at risk to be busted. He also has aces, but with a diamond draw, and we're off to a run out, trying to sweat this one, hoping for a chop or hoping to somehow hit 2 pair. Luckily, the run out comes in such a board where we end up chopping aces versus aces, and we survive. In the hand following that, we pick up ace, ace, queen 9 with a spades now, so at least we have a suit, but aces once again in this next level of level 4. We are first to act, and I raise it up to 1,100, and we get the cutoff and big blind to call. Going to a flop, which comes 10-3 deuce, all spades. With the queen high flush, I think we could sometimes bet a lot of the time, but I guess I decided to check. Not sure really what to do in this spot. It's a PLO. I haven't really ever played a PLO turn before. Action checks around. The turn now comes in inconsequential 9, so we still have a queen high flush. The big blind to my right now bets out 2,500. I think this is a really easy spot for me to just make the call with a good hand. Raising seems a little bit like an overplay, so I call, and the cutoff actually ends up coming along and calls as well. So going 3 ways to a river, which comes a good-looking king of spades. Now, instead of flopping the 3rd nuts, we have the 2nd best hand possible, only behind the ace high flush. On top of that, more spades on this board means there might be less likely the other players have a flush. So when the big blind checks to me, I feel much better about my hand, and I think a value bet is in order. So I bet small for 3,500. The cutoff lets go of his cards, and the big blind ends up making the call, saying he has a set. And we show, scoop it up, and we win a chunky one. Now finally over starting stack to start, and I'm actually surprised we're actually competing in this PLO tournament. All right, we're on break number 1. that seems to be the infamous bathroom line that just goes on forever. We have a 20-minute break, and now I finally get to like talk to you guys. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Playing my very first PLO tournament ever. Very first bracelet event ever live here at the series in Vegas, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. There's a horde of people just trying to get outside, I guess. I'm gonna get some fresh air for a few minutes at the very least, but we're above starting stack, and that's a little check-in. Hopefully we can get into some more spots. I'm getting more comfortable with PLO, playing a tournament style, and getting with the flow of the game. It's really unfortunate that my stack got blinded out. Who knew? I didn't know how to register in these tournaments, so a little bit of a rookie mistake. It's pretty loud in here, so I'll try to escape into like the sportsbook area. Anyways, a lot quieter. I'm sure the audio is a lot better. That's all I got. So first experience, first break, hopefully run it up. After the first break, onto level 5, blinds are 300, 500, 500. We look down at Jack, Deuce, 4, 4, 2 clubs. We're in the big blind. It's a wonky looking hand, but you know the drill. Pocket fours, baby. Let's go. It becomes a 4-way limped pot, and we see a flop of 10, 3, 4 rainbow, middle set. Pretty good, and a limped pot, I think. I bet out $1,500, which is a little bit smaller. I actually wanted to bet $2,500 in game, but anyways, action folds to the small blind, who decides on making the calls. So now we're playing heads up in position. The turn now comes to the king of diamonds, bringing out 2 diamonds out there. Small blind checks, and I think this is a spot where we just have to continue betting with a set. Now, a lot of draws are available, so I size to 4,500. And now this small blind thinks about it for a while and actually ends up check raising to 13.5K. Ooh, pretty interesting spot because I'm really confused as to what I should be doing here. It's hard to believe that I don't have the best hand right now since we only lose to a set of 10s or kings. And it's really hard to think that a set of 10s is going to be check calling the flop. So the only issue is that if we were to 3-bet this hand and put in another raise, we only get called by combo draws, which we are only slightly ahead of. So we're in position. I decided to just make the call here and evaluate a river. We've got a really big pot brewing for this tournament early on, so we're off to a river, which comes a 5. 5 of diamonds, unfortunately. So all the flushes and straights get there. He checks to me, and I'm just happy to check this one back with a showdown. He announced that he has 2 pair, and we just show our 4-4, our set of 4s, and they cannot let us down. Either in Hold'em or PLO, pocket 4s, baby. They're here to win. All right, so we're on break number 2. We just played like almost 3 hours worth of tournaments. I'm actually in the Amazon room right now, just chilling, talking to you guys. Not a whole lot happened. Like, I have to emphasize, we just played 3 hours of PLO, and I kind of just treaded water for the most part. Did chip up a little bit from like those big hands, but like nothing too significant to report back, unfortunately. Let me know what you guys think about these like little intermission break like check-in periods. Gonna talk for a little bit. Like, I plan to do this format for all the tournaments during the break just to catch up with you guys, because we do play a lot of poker, like just to like check in with you guys. I think is a cool format, but if you guys don't like it, let me know. But behind me is like some final table. I'm not sure what it is right now. A bunch of people standing behind me too. There's a bunch of tournaments going on, of course, here at the WSOP, but for our tournament right now, we're sitting, I don't know, something like 55K, not 60K yet, I don't think. So we're in decent shape, sitting with about like 50 big blinds coming into level 9. And yeah, we just like tread water for like 3 whole levels for 120 minutes, 40-minute levels, 120 minutes. 2 full hours of like not doing anything and reporting any interesting hands, but we'll get back into it after the break. And I don't know, maybe we'll find a way to chip up. And how silly would it be to make day 2 in this event where we don't even know how to play PLO? Anyways, I've got like 15 minutes of break left. Just gonna walk around and chill and do some sightseeing because this place looks really cool. I'll try to incorporate some of that in later vlogs, but here we're PLO focused. Can we make day 2 of PLO tournament, my first ever PLO tournament? We'll find out. So nothing significant happens until we fast forward to level 9. Blinds are 600, 1200, 1200, and we look down at king, king, queen, queen, no suits in the big blind. First orbit after break, and the action folds to the small blind player who raises to pot. It's about 4,000, and looking at this player's stack, it's relatively small. It's about 15,000 total. And facing this large raise already with a premium hand, it's unfortunate that we don't have a suit to go for some flushes here, but it's definitely too strong to fold, and I think also too strong to just call. So I put in a raise, I say pot, which effectively just puts him all in. It's about 16,000 total. He rips it all in, and I call, and we're up against aces. Pretty gross spot to be in, blind versus blind. Looks like we're gonna need a king or queen or straightening board to win this one. We're off to a run out. The runout comes Brick City for us, and we double up the small blind player, and our stack dwindles to about 42,000. Following that hand trying to rebound, we look down at King, Queen 10 with 2 suits in the big blind. Very pretty hand to look at, and when the ungun player limps, action folds to the small blind who also limps and calls. I think our hand is just too strong to just check our options, so I put in a raise to 5,000. The player to my left, ungun player, limp jams his entire stack in there, and action folds to me. This is just like No Limit Hold'em, where limp raising or limp jamming seems like aces a lot of the time. But do we think our hand has enough equity against aces? I'm not entirely sure, but he only has like 29,000 in stack, and given the blinds right now, we've got to gamble and go for it. So I call, and unfortunately, we are up against aces. Our read was right in this situation, I guess, but once again, running into aces back to back with kings, we're gonna need some help. We're off to a run out. Once again, the run out comes Brick City. 3 6s on the board, so now we have a full house, but his aces is a little bit better than our kings, and our stack takes a huge hit down to about 10,000 chips in stack now. With a short stack and a dream, we're on to level 10 with blinds are 800, 1600, 1600, and we're sitting with less than 10 big blinds in our stack. I've never studied PLO before, and I have no idea what short stack PLO strategy is, but we're gonna try. With ace, king, 10, 4, 2 clubs, we're in +1, and I decided to limpy poo with a very small stack. Put in the limp of 1600, which is about 20% of my stack right now. I only have 1 chip left when I limp, and the button, small blind, and big blind are also in this hand, so it becomes a 4-way limpy poo flop. The flop comes king 6 7. We have top pair, top kicker, and it's not as valuable as it is in Hold'em, but I guess there's no better time to go all in with a very short stack. Action checks to me, I rip my entire stack in there for 5,000. The button calls really quickly with a much larger stack. The other players fold, so now we're heads up to a run out. We just might have a chance. I show my cards, and this button player has both straight and flush draws. Pretty bad situation to be in with only top pair, but who knows? Let's try to fade some outs.
Not that open yet.
The runouts come Brick City. Scoop the pot our way. We get a full double or almost even a triple up. So we're staying alive and we win this pot.
Still here.
I got more chips. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next hand in level 11, blinds have increased and we look down at ace, ace, 10, 4, double suited, finally picking up aces ourselves with 16,000 in our stack. This is definitely a good spot to go all in, especially when 4 players limp around to 2,000. On the big blind to close out the action, and I'm not going to check this one with aces. I think I'll just raise this one to pot, which ultimately becomes an all-in for me. So I'm effectively all in, and the only player to call is the player on my left under the gun who snaps it off. Everyone else folds, and once again, we are heads up and all in. He covers us, so hopefully we can find another double. He shows his cards. It's some black-looking cards, double suited, and the flop comes ace high with 2 clubs. Oh boy, just gotta fade some clubs. The turn is, of course, a club. Need a suck out now. The river pairs the board with the 5. Let's go. Bink City, and we are still alive. PLO gods gifting me life, and just like that, we have a decent size stack in this tournament, ready to continue battling it out. 30 minutes go by, and we chip and blind down with 13,000 in stack. We pick up king 7 6 deuce. Double suited in the big blind, and I have like 5 big blinds left to play with. The cutoff open limps 2,400. Now the button pots it to 10.8 thousand. And the small blind calls this pot raise. And now I think we have a decision to either fold, as we standardly would in the big blind, or gamble the rest of my 4 big blind stack behind. And I think with PLO, we're just gonna have to go with the gambling option. Probably not the right play, but with so much money in the middle, we have a very small chance in very specific boards that we could potentially quadruple up in. So it's worth the risk, I think. So I rip it all in. The cutoff calls, everyone else calls, and we're off to see a flop. 4 ways with a massive pot. We need a good looking one. Flop comes ace, queen, 10, 2 clubs and a spade. This is going to be one of those boards that we are dead in. We're only alive to runner, spade outs for the flush, essentially. When the button puts in a bet, both of the other players fold. He only has top set and the flush draw. So we are a massive underdog, and turn gives him his clubs, and we are out of this tournament. GG's. PLO experiment was certainly a fun one, though.
Double suited. Gross. All right, sweet. Nice playing, guys.
That was a real flop.
What can I say when your stack just dwindles down to 13K and a bunch of people are in it? I have 2 suits. I don't know. Worth the gamble. Yeah, there's that. Also, I was really incentivized to do so because in like 5 minutes, there's dinner break. And I really don't think I want to like somehow survive with like 3 big blinds and go on a dinner break for an hour plus and then come back to 3 big blinds. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So, I mean, the fact that I even made it close to dinner break was silly because I don't even know how to play PLO. And there's a ton of spots that I like didn't really understand. Like, I don't know. I want to hear like your input on. I had a spot where I had like 15 big blinds. I looked down at king, queen 4 with 1 suit, like hearts. King, queen 8, something like that. And like someone raises to like 5K and I have 15 big blinds. Do I like 3-bet? Do I pot it? Do I call? Like, I don't really know what that is. So if you guys want to let me know, that'd be cool. But obviously didn't make the money. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching it. We almost had some life, a little bit of life, when we doubled up, then doubled up. But Busto City. There's a lot more tournaments to come. We'll be playing some Hold'em for sure, not PLO. I think this is like the one like kind of fun little D-Gen day that I wanted to have. So yeah, I think tomorrow, next vlog will be another one. Mixing some cash along the way as well. You already know the drill, but thanks so much for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.